February 15th. Feast of Supercalia at Rome, in honor of the god Pan, the defender from wolves. 1564. Birthday of Galileo Galilei, at Pisa, in Italy. 1600. Joseph de Acosta, the Spanish historian, died. He was born in Leon, 1539, and became remarkably efficient in literature and science at an early age. In 1571, he was dispatched as a missionary to South America, where he remained till 1588. During his residence at Peru, he wrote the Historia Natural y Moral de las Indias, which has been translated into nearly all the European languages, and is valuable for its information on the early condition of the continent. 1632. Dudley Carleton, an English statesman and political writer, died. 1664. John Twynne was convicted of high treason and executed. His offence was printing the matter called libelous written by Milton and others. 1682. Claude de la Colombe, a famous Jesuit, died. He became very popular as a preacher before James II, of England, and was the inventor of the Solemnity of the Heart of Jesus. 1694. Bradford paid for printing the first book in the city of New York. 1708. John Phillips, an elegant English poet, died, aged 32. 1730. Thomas Bray, an English divine, died. He made himself eminent by his unwearied attention to the practice of benevolence. Many charitable societies and good designs in London are formed on plans which he projected. 1732. Francis Atterbury died. He was the son of a parish rector, educated for the ministry, and made himself conspicuous by his eloquence as a preacher. His ambition was gratified by preferments, honors and emoluments, till, in the reign of Anne, 1713, he reached the seat of the Bishop of Rochester, the acme of his greatness. On the accession of George I, his prospects began to wane, and being suspected of some treasonable acts, he was condemned to perpetual exile. He settled in Paris, and died there. His literary fame rests on his sermons, and his correspondence with Pope. 1763. Peace of Hubertsburg concluded at the Electoral Palace of that name, which concluded the 7 Years' War between Austria, Prussia and Poland. 1765. Charles Andrew Van Loo, a highly distinguished French painter, died. 1766. John Hellot, a French philosophical writer, and distinguished chemist, died. 1781. Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, one of the most distinguished German authors, died. He contributed more than any other individual to the regeneration of German literature, and was remarkable for the versatility of his genius. 1782. Battle off Fort St. George, East Indies, between the British under Admiral Hughes, and the French under Admiral Suffren. 1784. Scipio Bixon died at Paris. He assisted Buffon in his natural history, and was also an author in his own name. 1788. George Anne Bellamy, an English actress of the time of Garrick, died at Edinburgh, aged 55. When she played Juliet with Garrick at Drury Lane, against Mrs. Cibber and Barry at Covent Garden, she published her own memoirs in 6 volumes. 1794. John Fenn, a learned antiquary, died. He greatly distinguished himself by his application to the study of natural history and antiquities, and made a large collection of curious original letters, written during the 15th century, which were published in 4 volumes. Quarto. 1796. The British under Admiral Elphinstone captured Colombo in the East Indies, which is at present the seat of the British government in the island of Ceylon. 1798. Rome declared a republic. 1801. Concordat between Bonaparte and Pius VII, for the re-establishment of religion in France, signed at Paris. 1804. A squadron of the East India Company's ships under Captain Dance, convoying the China fleet, beat off in the China seas, the French ship Marengo, 80 guns, Admiral Linois, 2 heavy frigates, a corvette of 28 guns, and a Dutch brig of 18 guns. 1806. Joseph Bonaparte entered Naples, upon the capitulation of the garrison, and was soon after chosen king. 1808. The King of Prussia renounced all connection, political and commercial, with Great Britain, in compliance with the Treaty of Tilsit. 1810. Birthday of Louis XV, of France, under whose reign the corruption of morals and principles spread to an alarming extent among all classes, and were followed by a general poverty, national humiliation, and ruined finances, which prepared the way for the explosion that took place under his unfortunate successor. 1813. Battle of Pietranera, on the coast of Calabria, between the French and the Sicilians. 1814. Battle of Montmirail in France, between the French under Bonaparte and the Russians under Blücher, in which the former gained a small advantage after a hard contest. 1815. British sloop of war Barbados captured the United States letter of marque Brigantine Vidette, 3 guns, 30 men. 1817. Cold day throughout the United States. Thermometer 8 degrees below zero in Philadelphia, and 20 degrees at Salem, Massachusetts. Heavily laden teams crossed from Boston to Fort Independence. 1817. A wagon loaded with specie for the Bank of Pennsylvania, overturned near Pittsburgh, and Thomas Wilson was killed by a box of coin falling upon him. 1818. Frederick Louis, Prince of Hohenzollern-Gelfingen, a general in the Prussian service, died. He acquired distinction in the almost constant scene of war in Europe, from 1793 to 1806, and contributed greatly by his superior skill and valor to several important victories. 1820. William Mellery, one of the signers, expired in his chair while reading Cicero, aged 92, 20th year, and practiced law at Newport until he was sent to the First Congress. His house at Newport was burned by the British. He had filled the office of Collector of the Customs since the term of Washington. 1826. Scipione Brieslac, an Italian geologist, died at Milan, universally regretted, both for his scientific merit and his personal qualities. His rich collection of minerals passed into the hands of the Borromeo family. 1832. The legislature of Maryland appropriated $200,000 for the removal of free blacks over the age of 18, and enacted penalties against the settlement of colored persons in that state. 1835. Nathan Dane died at Beverly, Massachusetts, age 82. He was the framer of the celebrated Ordinance of Congress of 1787, for the government of the territory of the United States northwest of the Ohio River, an admirable code of constitutional law, by which the principles of free government, to the exclusion of slavery, were extended to an immense region, and its political and moral interests secured on a permanent basis. 1836. John Gillies, historiographer to the King for Scotland, died, aged 90, author of a popular history of Greece, besides many other valuable works. 1836. Margaret Burjois died, on Prince Edward Island, aged 110. 1836. Fieschi and his accomplices, Papin and Maury, who attempted to take the life of the French king by the explosion of an infernal machine, executed at Paris. 1840. Harriet Campbell, a Scottish author of distinguished talents, died at Montreux in Switzerland, aged 34. 1843. Nathaniel Chipman, sometime Justice of the Supreme Court of Massachusetts and a Senator of the United States, died in the 91st year of his age. He was a vigorous writer.